who decided to start letting people write on the walls? Where did that come from?
Well, that's an easy answer. The people decided that they wanted to write on the walls.
So do you have a favorite location?
I do, and I am not shy about sharing it, and I get in trouble every time I share it. So
You've had a location in Southaven for so long is really awesome, and I know that you just opened a new one not too long ago in Olive Branch. Is that correct?
we did. So yeah, we've got 2 of them in North Mississippi now. Olive Branch just opened a couple of years ago, and Southaven opened up, which is hard for us to believe, 25 years ago.
Welcome to Southaven Business Beat. Business and community leaders talk with us to provide invaluable resources to aid the business community.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for another episode of Southaven Business Beat, where we sit down with local businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit organizations to give them a platform to tell their story and to be able to share some words of wisdom with you to help do business better. Today, I have the distinct honor of sitting down with Alex Boggs, who is the area manager and marketing director for Huey's. I love me some burgers. I see you didn't bring me any, but thanks for joining us anyway.
Well, that makes 2 of us who love some cheeseburgers, that's for sure. And I can't thank you enough for having me here today.
Absolutely. So we want to start out. I want to know about you, about where you came from, how you got started with Huey's, and then we'll jump into a little history of Huey's and stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those 2 questions will kind of segue hand in hand.
Okay.
So I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. We grew up in Midtown, very close to the original Huey's location. And my dad was from Wynne, Arkansas. My mom was from Memphis. And I have 3 big sisters and a baby brother. And we grew up in Memphis. I went to Christian Brothers High School, went to the University of Alabama. And as soon as I graduated, moved straight back home and got back to work at Huey's, which is the family business. And so my dad, Thomas, didn't technically start Huey's, but we essentially call him the founder, who kind of turned it from a 1-location bar into the burger, French fries, and restaurant group that you see today.
Awesome. That's incredible. So you're just continuing the legacy.
That's exactly it. And, we don't take it lightly. We take it very seriously when you talk about a legacy and a family legacy. And my sister's carrying on what my dad and my mom did. And for me to be able to carry that torch has, it's been an honor. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I know you guys have very deep roots here and that you're very strategic about when you place a new restaurant and where it goes. So the fact that Southaven was chosen and that you've had a location in Southaven for so long is really awesome. And I know that you just opened a new one not too long ago in Olive Branch. Is that correct?
We did. So yeah, we've got 2 of them in North Mississippi now. Olive Branch just opened a couple of years ago. And Southaven opened up, which is hard for us to believe, 25 years ago. And, we just got to have an awesome anniversary celebration up there. Chamber representatives were all over the place. We took some awesome photos, had live music. We did throwback pricing to 2000. So you got to get a cheeseburger and a bowl of potato soup for what they cost 25 years ago. We ran some beer specials and we had an awesome time, but we're very particular about where we open up new locations. We are very patient. And, for example, for Olive Branch, we were trying to get an Olive Branch for 10, 15 years before we found that one. But just as importantly, when we got down to Southaven in 2000, Huey's is 55 years old now as a company. But we didn't start opening up new locations until right around 1990. And so we identified very early on that we wanted to be here in Southaven. We knew kind of the area that we were trying to get. The movie theater was just a perfect segue for us to go ahead and make the jump down here to get at a perfect location with another attraction and to be a part of a great shopping center. But for us, it was very early on in the development and for the plans of what we wanted to do. And it's funny, we all talk about the restaurants being in Mississippi or being down in Southaven. And our location, our offices are right next to the Midtown location, which opened in 1970. And you can get to Huey Southaven from there quicker than you can get to about 5 of the other Hueys. And so when you talk about the actual proximity, just because you cross the state line doesn't mean that it's literally right down the road from all of our other operations. Right. We're thrilled to be down here, and the community, the chamber, everything has just been such a good fit for what we do. And we put a big emphasis on our values, and we put a big emphasis on our culture. And the staff at Huey Southaven and the regulars and customers at Huey Southaven have just been such an impactful part of what we do.
So tell me a little bit about what is the value system? What did your father instill in you guys early on 55 years ago that has been the catalyst for that success throughout the years?
Well, it's kind of a two-pronged thing. One of them is work hard. And, my dad worked very hard for his entire life. He came over from Wynne, Arkansas when he was 5 or 6 with him and his family with not much. And for him to be able to get into an industry like hospitality was something that he was naturally drawn to. But the other positive of that is the upward mobility that it provides. And anybody can get into the hospitality business and keep moving, keep growing, keep advancing. It's not like some of the other stuff where you're worried about degrees and tenure and what happens. If you get into restaurants and you work hard, you're going to be able to keep growing and having the discipline. There's not like a secret map for running restaurants. There's not a lot of things that Huey's knows that other people don't know. Being in your restaurants and working hard and having the discipline to do the same things every single week. Nobody likes going in the mornings and counting inventory, but you have to do it once a week to be successful. And so we grew up with that from a very early age. My sister's working in the restaurants. My younger brother and I working in the restaurants. We joke a lot of kids went to summer camp. We just went to work at Huey's. But the other thing that has really ingrained us is my dad used to always say, if you give back to the community, they're going to in turn give back and take care of you. And we just eat, breathe, and sleep that. We want to be a part of just about everything that we can, whether it's a banner in the softball field in the high school, cooking cheeseburgers in the parking lot of the 5K. We want to make sure that we're doing, local organizations that we let our staff have input in for a Christmas giving, which every one of our locations gives back into a different nonprofit in their area every year for the holidays. We do fundraisers for the anniversary parties. We raise money that we give back on. And being a part of the area as a whole is just as important to us as it is to serve cheeseburgers. We want to be able to fit in. We want to be able to embrace that group. And we've learned if we do that, we can worry a lot less about selling those cheeseburgers, and people are going to come be a part of us.
Absolutely. There's so many different businesses that come through and they say, we want to be involved in the community. We want to give back, but they don't always practice what they say, whether it be they're just small and they don't have the time like they thought they would. The struggle's harder than they anticipated, or just it doesn't end up that way. But from as long as I can remember, because I've been a Huey's fan for a very long time. I won't say how long. Don't judge me. I'm not old. For a very long time, let's just say. And you guys live that. Like, it's more than just a phrase. And that's something that I tell people all the time. You need to invest in the businesses that invest in you.
Well, it is. It's much more than a phrase for us. It is a part of our identity. And, we see a lot of the same things that you just mentioned, and we really work hard and we're intentional about the boots on the ground effort. And, for lack of a better term, we kind of want to, nickel and dime our areas to death, because what you'll see is a group might come into town, and whether it's a national chain or somebody who's kind of new to our industry, and they'll say, yeah, we're going to get involved in the community. We're going to do this. And don't get me wrong, what they do is very impactful, but generally 9 times out of 10, they write a very good check once a year to a bigger organization. And we really feel like that's still important for who we are. We still do the same thing, but just as much as that is we want to do as many little small things as we possibly can. We want to do as many church recital programs. We want to do as many Christmas pageants. We want to do as many little small things and touch as many people as we possibly can, because those are the real folks that we're starting to see. Us going and taking a picture with one of those big blown up checks is fun. Don't get me wrong. We enjoy doing it. But to us, the impact that we have in people's day-to-day lives in Southaven and in the areas that we have our locations, it's by doing those smaller organizations, those mom and pop type run things. And we want to be a part of as many as we can.
At the Southaven Chamber of Commerce, our mission has always been to create more opportunities for our members and community to share their story. And this podcast is just one of many ways that we do just that. But we couldn't make it happen without Pure Focus Media, the creative team behind the scenes helping make us and a lot of local businesses to look and sound their best. Pure Focus Media is on a mission to make high-quality video and content creation accessible to businesses of all sizes. From strategy to production, they help tell your story, attract more leads, and grow through the power of video. If you're ready to level up your brand, you need to visit purefocus.media and schedule your strategy call today. So in your time with Huey's, obviously since you were little, what all have you done? What has your path through the company looked like?
Well, it's been a fun journey. It's been a blast for me. And first off, just to say how delightful it is to get to work with family. It's just been so fun. And I've been so blessed to be able to spend, a lot of times you go to your job and you skip out on hanging out with your sisters or your dad or whomever it might be. And for me to be able to work with my dad, to be able to work with my three sisters, right now, two of my three sisters and I are all next to each other in the same hallway in our office. But to be able to grow up in the Huey's Midtown kitchen with my younger brother has been such a delight. But we started out in the kitchens. My dad wanted us to know every single job from Huey's top to bottom, whether you were working as a prep cook, whether you were working as a deep fryer, and just work your way through there. So we moved out to the front eventually. Started bussing tables, running food, working the front door. I used to love managing those wait lists, hollering out people's names once their tables were ready, getting to go open the door and see who was waiting outside and holler for them and bring them inside and get them seated, to serving to bartending and managing. So we really started off just gradually moving bit by bit by bit. And then, I am a little unique. We all agreed it wouldn't do me a lot of good to know nothing but Huey's. And working at Huey's for my entire life would be good, but wouldn't really help us without any outside perspective. And so on great terms, I left the company for about 7 years. And I went and worked at a Panera Bread. We want to go to a national chain and manage and say, hey, why do they have 1,600 of these things? They're obviously doing something right. Let's see what this looks like. And had a blast working there. Opened up a couple of other restaurants in Memphis. Opened up a couple of other restaurants down in Florida. I attached to the BB King's organization for a while, and Tommy Peters, their owner, took great care of me. And we went to Orlando, West Palm Beach, opened up a couple of concepts here in Memphis, and had a great time getting to see what other operations do, what other owners and management groups do. And after I worked with the BB Kings and Lafayette's in the nightclub business for a few years, my sweet wife told me to find a day job. And she was right. And so I went over to US Foods and worked for them as a restaurant consultant and a new business manager, and was still in the same industry, but a little bit easier hours for the family life. We had our firstborn, our daughter, while I was working there, and kind of gave us the chance to slow down on nights and weekends a little bit. And then kind of, as they say, mama called. And I ended up back at Huey's about 7 years ago now. I came back as an assistant manager, became the general manager of our Midtown location, our Millington location, and our Poplar and East Memphis location. And so now, just about a year and a half ago, I moved in and took over, and I'm now the marketing director in our office working that and overseeing the Midtown location again. So
that's incredible. And I love that you and your family recognize the importance of seeing not only every perspective from within your business, but that you were able to glean all of that knowledge from larger chains and things to bring back to implement. So how much of that do you think is going to influence y'all's 5 years, 10 years down the road? Are you looking to expand to that kind of level?
No, we're not right now. I mean, we do feel like we've got room for a couple of more Hueys, but when you talk about really leaving the greater Memphis area, that's not something that's necessarily on our radar. We love our community. We love our employees that we've got. We're super blessed. We're up to just over 700 employees right now in the greater Memphis area. And we take a lot of pride in working with them, in knowing them, knowing their names, knowing their kids, knowing what organizations they like for us to partner with. And it's something that we take great pride in. And you might look around and you might have 3 to 4 of our family members working lunch at a different Huey's that day. And we feel like that's a huge part of what makes us who we are and what we do. And yeah, we were really fortunate. My dad originally was working for the TGI Fridays restaurant group. And so several of the things that some of these bigger groups have done, he helped, one, put in place, and two, Huey's has been doing for a long time. So the perspective that, hey, we are, doing pretty well on this side of things, we do have a lot of good best practices, was really reassuring for me and for us to feel. But on the flip side of things, a lot of it is we've kept growing. When I was born, we had one location and it was pretty much a bar. Now we've got 10 of them in 2 different states that cover a pretty significant amount of miles. We want to make sure that we're still staying back to the basics. Are we still running good shifts day to day? Do we still have quick ticket times? Is the food hitting your table in, what we feel is the appropriate amount of time? Are our servers giving great service? Are our cooks putting out fantastic looking food? We put just as much of an emphasis on those things day in and day out. And that goes back to the discipline side of things as we do anything else.
And that definitely sets you apart tremendously and attributes to your massive success for your company, because there is that consistency. I know that when I walk in, I'm going to be greeted the second I walk in by somebody. And I'm not going to wait, because they're going to be right there to talk to me, to get me a drink, to tell me what's going on. And more than likely, they're going to remember me. They may not remember my name, but I know when I walk in, I'm going to catch eyes with somebody on the shift and they're going to be like, hey. And it really makes a difference. It's next level on customer experience. And I think that truly is why you guys have so many regulars, because we walk in and we recognize the other regulars too. Be like, that guy eats lunch here literally every day. Because it doesn't matter what day I come in, he's going to be sitting right over there every time eating a bowl of soup.
That's just the way we like it. And we're really fortunate. We put a big emphasis on how we hire people. We do a pretty intense interview process. We want to be picky, and we like to think we provide a wonderful quality of life for our staff. But our staff and being able to retain them and to keep turnover low and have long-term people there is such a huge part of what you just mentioned. And you are going to see those same faces. I mean, we've all gone into the different restaurants and you see a different server and a different bartender every time you're there. It doesn't mean that the food's not good. It doesn't mean that it's not a great experience for you or your family or whoever you're with. But that familiarity and that warmth and that just kind of level of comfort is something that can't be replaced. And even when we did the Southaven 25th anniversary earlier this year, we had 2 employees that we were celebrating at 25 years that have been with us since essentially day one. We had one at year 20, and we celebrate the 5-year milestone. So there was a few sprinkled in between, but we had 2 25s, a 20, 2 15s, and 2 10s. And for us to be able to bring those people up on stage, to be able to celebrate them, to be able to do that was just such a prideful moment for all of us, because we, as the Boggs family, are never going to be able to touch all of our customers. We might go ask you how your cheeseburger tastes or get you a refill, but we're never going to talk to every single person that comes in our doors, but our staff is. And we really just love the fact that we've been able to retain a lot of them. We work hard on hiring, we work hard on training, and we like to think that we provide them a wonderful experience that makes them want to stay with us.
Absolutely. And for an industry in itself that has a massive turnover rate, to have that many people within your group that are celebrating those milestones, I mean, that is huge for your industry. It really is. And it definitely does set the precedence for what you guys expect from your people. I want to talk a little bit more in the lane of what you do as far as marketing, and not so much necessarily with Huey's itself, but where have you seen major changes and ebbs and flows in the years that you've been doing this in the industry, whether it be marketing or just the restaurant industry in itself? Because there have been a lot of changes.
There has certainly been a lot of changes. I mean, everybody can laugh, hopefully now as we look back. And, you've got the bug in the room of COVID. When you talked about an industry that changed, that adapted, that every week was going to be something different for us, we were very happy with how our organization handled that. We weren't happy really at the time dealing with it all, but for us to be able to adjust, for us to be able to continue to do our takeout food to draw messages on the boxes was so fun. In regards to Huey's marketing strategy, we really refer to it just as much as community engagement as we do as marketing. And, you don't see a lot of Huey's billboards. You don't see a lot of Huey's commercials. You don't hear us on the radio very much. It goes back to kind of what we talked about getting involved in our communities and being able to tie into those things. You have seen a lot larger requests start to come, as we've grown, people start to see that. And we've had to have some philosophical conversations. Do we want to partner with some of these bigger organizations? Do we want to do more, but give more, but do less organizations? Or do we want to have more groups of people and, have each one of those checks be a little bit less than what they could be? And that's been something that we discuss every year, every month, really every week as it comes across with us. In regards to the marketing side of things, everything has been changing. How many people are listening to FM radio today? How many people are listening to Spotify podcasts? How many people are actually, getting on social media versus reading the newspaper? I mean, everything has been questioned. Everything is changing. And digital advertising and digital marketing has been a huge priority of ours the past couple of years. We need to make sure that when you're scrolling through that article or when you're getting on social media, that the cheeseburgers pop up just as if you were flipping through Memphis Magazine or the Commercial Appeal or whatever it might have been. And so it's been a constant routine for us to evaluate, to think about what we're doing. In the restaurant side of things, we really like to be old school. We like to do what we've always done. We've added host stands, which we never thought we would have, which we looked at each other and said, why didn't we have these 15 years ago? This was the best idea. But in regards to what you do on your general routine with Huey's, we don't want to lose that touch. We don't want to go to QR code menus. We want you to be able to come in, look at the fun designs on there, flip it over and see some of the cartoons on the back, and come in. And Huey's should be what you remember it. We want to always progress. We want to get better. We want to make sure that we're still providing a clean, quick, wonderful operation, but we don't want to lose touch with who we always have been.
At the Southaven Chamber of Commerce, our mission has always been to bring more opportunities to our members and to our community, and this podcast is one of the many ways that we do just that. But we couldn't be able to do what we do without the support of our sponsor, Wisdom Integrators. They're the strategic tech partner that makes it possible for businesses to work smarter and not harder. Wisdom Integrators helps organizations harness that power of technology by designing tailored solutions for workflow, automation, process improvement, and digital transformation. For small businesses or large enterprises, they bridge the gap between the vision and the execution. Are you ready to scale up your efficiency and impact? Then you need to come and visit wisdomintegrators.com to schedule your consultation today. All right, so question that a lot of people always want to know. Who decided to start letting people write on the walls? Where did that come from?
Well, that's an easy answer. The people decided that they wanted to write on the walls. And that was not an internal decision by our staff, by our team. That was essentially, when Huey's first opened in 1970, our second location did not come until 15 to 20 years later. And it was a bar. And people were writing on the walls. They were playing bumper pool. They were getting pictures. It was a little bit of a different experience. And even when I was growing up, we still had the cigarette machines in the stores, right in between the two bathroom doors. Uh-huh. And, we felt like we had really made a big advancement when all of a sudden you had to press a red button before somebody could buy those cigarettes to make sure nobody underage was getting them. We said, wow, we're really moving on up with the times. But no, people have been writing on the walls of Huey's, leaving their mark, leaving their initials. My favorite thing is anytime I'm in a store I hadn't been in a while, I'll go draw a big heart with my wife and all my kids' initials inside of it so I can leave my little stamp on the Huey's wall too. But we do it as a staff just as much as our guests do. And that's just a huge part of what makes us us.
I love that so much. I know I have signed every wall except for the Olive Branch one.
Okay.
So there's my next goal, I think.
That's 90%. That's a pretty great hit rate.
Absolutely. My favorite, though, probably downtown. I've eaten there the most, even beyond the Southaven one, and I'm a DeSoto County girl. But back in the day, other jobs, other businesses had me in in Memphis, and I ate at downtown location a lot.
It's fun, the different quirks, the different personalities that our stores all have. I mean, of course, the people do, but the stores do as well. And one of the really cool things about the downtown location is how many tourists we get to see. And it's such a different feeling. I mean, I love our Southaven store. We have such an awesome group of regulars that come in. We've got some longtime bartenders that draw them in, but we've got such a great group. And at Midtown, Cordova, a few of the locations, we've got these really solid groups of folks that we see, as you mentioned, day in and day out. But downtown is, they still have their regulars, but it's so fun when you hear an accent or you see somebody talking about what they want to do. And I love to do it. Our bartenders and servers love to do it. You go, hey, where y'all in town from? And all of a sudden now you're helping them plan their itinerary. And you're going, wait a second. You're going, okay, hold on. If you want barbecue, here's where you should go eat. If you want to go out tonight and hear live music, here's where you should go. Being able to be a part of those families and those people's trips, journeys, memories. Downtown it's a special place when you get the tourists and when you get folks coming in that you get to really get involved with.
Yes. Y'all's proximity to that historic hotel downtown, everybody knows. You have a very eclectic group of people that come through there. People watching is probably my favorite thing to do downtown.
The people watching is the real deal. And they got those big bay windows on the side too. You get to see a lot at the corner of Union and Second.
So do you have a favorite location?
I do, and I am not shy about sharing it, and I get in trouble every time I share it. So I'm kind of always in trouble at this point. So, but I grew up working there. It is the original location. It is right around the corner from my house. I love the Midtown location. Each one has things that really draw me to them. The customers in Millington are very special. Having worked at Huey's Germantown, Huey's Cordova is really fun for me. Huey's Poplar is where I worked when I first started getting into the to-go side of the business, answering the phones, talking on the phone. As I mentioned, Southaven's long-term staff is just, it's unbelievable for us when we get to walk into a Huey's and you know so many people that have worked for you for so long. But Midtown, we've got an employee, Miss Kathy, who started working there before I was even born. I joke that I met her before I got sent home from the hospital. And it's got a special place to us. And even when you go inside, it looks a little bit different because that building has just been there for forever. You know, we were inherited into Huey's Midtown. Every other one we got to make into a Huey's.
Right. So that one had its own identity of its own.
Yes. And I just upset 90% of our staff by saying that as well.
It's okay. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It's okay. Well, talking about each one having its own identity, let's talk about the Southaven location for a minute, because obviously we're a Southaven Business Beat. We got to talk about the Southaven location
Absolutely.
a little. What makes that specific store unique over the others? What is something that it gets its own identity from?
Well, one of the things I think for a lot of us that remember when Southaven opened is, like I said, the proximity is not far, but it felt like such a risk. Going to a different state, just having different laws, having different pieces of paperwork, different government organizations that we were working with when we opened up that location. It felt like it was something that was a little bit unknown to us. And we all had been to Southaven. We all knew people from Southaven. We had employees working at Huey's that lived in Southaven that were super excited to transfer to that location. But the way that community has embraced us, the way that we've gotten to partner with groups like the Chamber, and we felt really, we felt loved from day one. And I think Southaven probably viewed it a little bit as that too. Hey, you got this restaurant group in Memphis. They're choosing to come here. And we were very intentional about wanting to get down here. But you're going, are we going to fit in? Are people going to like us down there? And we did. We got to really time it up with some awesome stuff. Right around the same time as the movie theater opened up, our whole little area was just fun, new, shiny. There was so much energy. Shortly after that, you got Snowden Grove popping up, and we got to just kind of really ride the wave of some of those awesome early concerts. And we feel like we kind of grew up with Southaven at the same time. And it's been fun progressions for both of us. But I can't reiterate how awesome our long-term staff at Southaven is and how wonderful our clientele and our regulars are. It's such a fun energy, and it's such a fun vibe when you walk into that store.
So I ask every person that comes on the podcast one question, one thing that kind of just stands out to you as either something that has been a benefit to you personally or even professionally for Huey's itself that the chamber has been able to be a platform for, or that you hope to glean from it in the future. What has leaned you towards being part of our chamber family?
Well, first things first, the Southaven Chamber is extremely strong. The things that y'all do in this town, the way you interact with the businesses is of course great, but we do that with several other different groups. But the way that y'all give back to the community, from the Halloween the trunk or treat and all the stuff that y'all do on that side of things for your holiday stuff, y'all are excellent at interacting with the different groups of people down here, getting involved with all the different ages, all the different demographics that you've got. For one, we just love it because y'all are so present. Y'all are never afraid to come get a table at a Huey, show up at a party. The answer is kind of like, what can we do for you? Do you want us to come cut a ribbon? Do you want to come take a picture? What do you want to be a part of? And we love saying yes to all of those things. We wouldn't have really thought about a lot of those ideas, but it's so fun the way that y'all want to get out, get involved, and be a part of what we do in our world.
Because we wouldn't have a job without you guys. We can't do what we do if the businesses aren't there. And so we have our passion in seeing you succeed, in seeing you continue to grow and building those relationships, because we want to know about you and about your kids and about Miss Kathy that's been there since, the 70s. I mean, that is what makes the difference. And that's where we try and be the trendsetters and set ourselves apart in our industry. Because no matter how big we get, no matter how much we grow in number, we want to have that community feel. And I never want to get to the point that I can't just go out and show up and be like, hey, how's it going?
Well, y'all are knocking that out of the park.
Well, thank you. If we ever don't, just fuss at us, okay?
Hey, feedback is a gift, right?
Absolutely. And I value it tremendously. All right, last question, and then I will let you go. Is there a cool new menu item, something you're going to try out? Coming.
So that's a loaded question. And I have given out a few sneak peeks in the past on different things. Our next round is probably going to be something a little bit different. So this summer, we unrolled a new steak salad, Southwestern steak salad, which we haven't done a new salad in a very long time. And we knew that we wanted to go that direction with the menu. A couple of years ago, we did the smash burger, which turned out so amazing, and I love it. I know I'm biased, but don't get me wrong, I eat a lot of Huey's cheeseburgers, and man, I am stuck on that smash burger right now. But that was something very new for us as well. We, for years, my dad and everybody and all of my old school grill cooks, don't ever smash a burger. Doesn't matter if it's well done, don't ever smash that burger. The juice comes out of it. You're trying to cheat it. It's going to make it cook quicker. We know that. Don't smash it. Be patient. Keep it juicy. You can still have a well-done burger with no pink and make it juicy. And when I first walked in and we started training people to smash those burgers, some of these grill cooks were looking at me just like I just, kicked their puppy. And I'm going, no, I promise this is a little bit different. And I was doing one of them. The grill cook had been with us for almost 30 years, and I could feel him glaring at me. I said, I know what you're thinking. He goes, no, you don't. I said, I know what you're thinking. He goes, your daddy wouldn't like this. I said, I know that it's not the same. I'm not telling you to smash the burger. It's our same blend of meat. It's the same company, but it comes in a different shape while they smash it. And it was such a new thing for us that we had never done. But when we put that on the menu, we knew that we needed to probably take a couple of things off. We had been adding for almost 20 years without taking a menu item off by choice. We had a few things that we weren't able to get the products again that left our menu, but we had not intentionally removed anything in almost 20 years. And so we took off about 5 or 6 items. And oh boy, let me tell you, we heard about it.
Oh, I bet.
We are blessed that we've got a lot of regulars. We've got a lot of folks that love Huey's. And, in our world, you run the numbers. We know that we sell this percentage of this percentage of that. Of course, the cheddar burger, the Swiss burger, the hamburger are just through the roof. And we've got several, the cheese fries, the things that you can imagine just are staggering. And so you're going, well, hey, this is, the lowest seller in this category. But, when we're a busy restaurant, and then when you multiply it by 10, we still sell a lot of them. So we took off 4 or 5 items and we got beat up pretty good about it. I personally responded to every single person. I think every single person that sent us an email complaining about us taking something off the menu, hopefully got an email from me explaining some of the why and acknowledging that I know that I upset you. So next year, what we're looking to do is, instead of adding something new, we're looking to bring back 1 or 2 of the old classics. So it'll still be a little bit limited time only. I don't know that they'll make their way back to the menu permanently, but there is a lot of people out there who are missing 1 or 2 of those original things. Some of the old cheeseburgers, we had the Blues 57 with blue cheese and Heinz 57 sauce. We had a few other ones that people were really adamant that they did not want us to take off. So we're going to probably dig into the files and do a little rinse and repeat.
All right. So if you didn't receive an apology email from him,
then you need to email me now and let me know, because I owe you one.
Be on the lookout, because he's going to get you your menu item back. Maybe. That's awesome. Cool beans. Thank you so much for joining us. I love Huey's, and y'all just need to keep doing what you're doing, rocking it, knocking it out of the park. And I am an advocate for the smash burger. I do not discriminate against any good burger, and I had it the last time I was there, and it was phenomenal. So
well, I love to hear it, and y'all do the same. We love interacting with y'all here at the Chamber. We love being down here in Southaven. It has just been such a fantastic fit for our organization and who we are and what we do. And I can't thank you enough for having me today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, check out Huey's. Go get you a burger. Try the Southwestern steak salad. It's pretty dang good. And if you haven't done so, click that subscribe button down at the bottom so you don't miss a single episode of Southaven Business Beat. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Southaven Business Beat. Would you like to be a sponsor of Southaven Business Beat? Please email us, info@southavenchamber.com. Be sure to share and subscribe for more business resources.